after a lot of criticism, dare we say the committee got it right? Their top 8 seeds of the tournament are all still dancing in the Sweet 16. No real, truly like earth-shattering upsets outside of Kentucky falling to Oakland.
Well,
outside of that,
Yale-Auburn's a pretty wild upset.
Yale-Auburn was one, but that were people griping about that seeding for Auburn, maybe saying they should have been a 3 seed.
Yeah,
but they lost. Again, they lost to a 13.
Does ends justify the means here?
But look, if you're losing to a 13 seed, you probably shouldn't be bitching about being a 3.
I am, because if they'd been seeded better, they would have been more. No, they wouldn't have been more locked in.
Okay, you know what? They could have been a 3 seed and played Oakland and had White Lightnings bury them. Instead of burying Kentucky, they would have buried Auburn.
Might have saved Cal's job.
That's crazy, though.
Yeah.
I mean, as we look at it, this is one of the more chalky Sweet 16s that we have had.
But there have been great games.
There have been
even in non-upsets, there have been great games.
That's where the committee, I think, really nailed it. We've had drama really throughout every single matchup, with the exception, like UConn is just doing what we thought UConn would do. They are just road grading teams right now.
Yeah.
Your 1 seeds are performing like the 1 seed should. Last night, that Houston game, that got a little squirrely at the end.
It did.
But they were up on Texas A&M. They were up by 12, and then all of a sudden, everybody started fouling out. You had 6 guys foul out of the A&M Houston game.
One thing that I don't think has been discussed enough is, boy, do college refs suck.
Yeah, they do.
They're really bad.
They're not great, and this is why everybody complains about NBA officials. Could be worse.
I mean, the thing is,
could be worse.
A lot of college refs, they're part-timers. So you get these guys, like in the NBA, during the season, this is what they do. A lot of them are lawyers, and then they, travel for the season, kind of a deal. But there have been, the way that Purdue game was officiated early on, the ticky-tack fouls.
Okay,
I was like, come
here's
on,
the thing
man.
with Purdue. How do you officiate a Zach Edey game? Because it's damn near impossible to do.
It's much like Shaq, where, look, it's not in Jokic, to go more contemporary. Those guys get hit more frequently and harder than other people. That is the reality.
And I really do think the beginning of the Utah State game, where you were saying it was very ticky-tack,
yep.
I think that was more of a product of what happened in the Grambling State game 2 days before. Because did you see that foul that I don't remember what Grambling player it was.
Mm-hmm.
That's assault, brother, on Edey.
I will say, Holy Cross had the bigger assault play this weekend
on Caitlin Clark.
Yes, the
elbow,
the left elbow,
that a forearm shiver
that somebody on Twitter, Andrew Perloff, said was non-intentional.
No, that was a forearm shiver. Larry Zonka would be very proud of the forearm shiver.
I've seen MMA fighters with less accurate elbows.
Yeah, that was
just
shot to Caitlin Clark right in the jaw, and she did not flop on that one.
No,
that
honestly,
was a legit one.
I'm surprised she didn't pick up a pretty serious injury, to be honest. That was head trauma. That's what that was.
They rocked her solid.
Flagrant fouls don't exist in women's basketball.
They don't?
They don't exist.
I'll be damned.
I was like, I'm sorry, what?
I think we need to change that rule.
Yeah, that might be the rule change.
I mean, for equality purposes, a flagrant foul can be done in women's sports, too.
I was just like, I'm sorry, what?
But I think that, back to your point of the ticky-tack nature of the Utah State, I think that was a product of Grambling State, how they were just hacking away at Edey.
They knew the assignment was.
And you can't allow that to continue, right? Like, you can't just sit there and be like, that's the way that you're going to operate when Zach Edey's on the floor. But it is nice to see Purdue is on that Virginia path where you get upset by a 16 seed, and you come back and you look really damn good in the first 2 games of the tournament that they've played in the following year. They got Gonzaga coming up next, and if you want to talk about a game that's going to get into the weeds when you're talking some hard fouls, Gonzaga-Purdue, that game is going to be a throwback type game in the Sweet 16.
No, there's going to be a lot of basketball on the interior.
We have in this tournament the chalky nature of it. The average seed of the Sweet 16, 3.3.
Pretty low.
So a lot of ones and twos. If you look at it, the only team that's a double-digit seed that did advance is the team that's playing hottest basketball in the country. Went through the ACC tournament and rolled right through. It's our big fella, DJ Burns.
Indeed.
In North Carolina State, man.
Studied Olajuwon, looks like Zach Randolph. Love it. It's just one of the greatest lines ever.
Yeah, and they got, I mean, in all honesty, luck of the draw, too. You get Oakland coming
on the
out
upset of Kentucky.
Upset of Kentucky.
That's how you make a deep run, is that the bracket lines up your way.
Yeah, other than that, you got a lot of ones and twos. The next highest seed that you'll see is Clemson, which upset Baylor as a 6 seed. Other than that, you have 1, 2s, 3s, and then Gonzaga sitting there as a 5 seed after they beat the brakes off of Kansas. Who didn't see that one coming with Kansas and the way they struggled with Samford?
Yeah, I mean, not only that, Kansas was limping in with Dickinson hurt, McCullers out, and Bill Self himself saying he was looking towards next year already.
And those boys, that region of death, that East region, think of this. Rematch of the national championship game is in the Sweet 16. 1 seed UConn, 5 seed San Diego State. The 2 and 3 seeds are still standing, Iowa State and Illinois. And I think what we're going to be seeing in the Elite Eight, UConn, Iowa State, that's going to be a hell of a basketball game. I'm pumped for that game.
Illinois might win that. Those 2 guards are awesome.
Guard heavy, baby.
And they play great booty ball.
Excuse me?
I forget the guy's name, but basically it's what Jay Wright used to do in Villanova with Jalen Brunson. He'd have Jalen Brunson back down, basically go in and post up with the ball, and then let himself kicked out. He'd play booty ball.
Booty ball.
He'd use his booty to get down into the paint.
Jalen Brunson does have junk in the trunk. And there is a
surprising.
It was like the Jay Wright Jello mold of guards that he would just pump out of there. They were all
Kyle Lowry
thick.
Kyle Lowry is the thickest guard in NBA history.
Yeah, you had Lowry, Brunson. Look, even Josh Hart.
Josh Hart's got a little junk back there.
We saw that up close and personal here in Portland.
Big butts matter, man. I finished and published my my draft profile on Zach Rizachet, and I'll give the little free tidbit here. I did mention junk in the trunk and how. Did you ever see Jesus and Mero when they had the pyramid game?
No.
They had to come up with a name for, he was, running through it for Taylor Swift. And he said, the woman with the very long back. Of which the Taylor Swift hive got the Swifties got angry.
But I'm not even hey, I didn't laugh at that joke. I was laughing at something else, all you Swifties out there. I don't want to feel your wrath.
But I compared Zachary Rizachet to having a very long back.
Okay, do we have an apology from Danny to the ACC?
No.
When the brackets came out, you said the ACC wasn't good and they were overrated.
They are.
A quarter of the Sweet 16 is from the ACC.
They're not good. They're not good.
Well, they've got currently still standing in the tournament. The ACC has Duke. You have NC State, North Carolina, and Clemson. All still standing.
I think North Carolina's overseeded, but we'll see how they do with Oates in Alabama.
Dude, Nate Oates in Alabama
it's
looking
it's a fun
like
game.
A wagon right now. And a lot of these teams are, and that's if you have, well, they don't have them this week. They got Arizona first. And then they play, because Nate Oates and Alabama have North Carolina.
As I said.
I thought you said Clemson.
No.
Oh, you one seed North Carolina.
Yeah.
That's going to be a hell of a game.
Clemson, Arizona is a matchup between who can fail hardest.
Yeah. Pac-12 turned to pumpkins on Saturday and Sunday. But we had some great, like Washington State, we knew that their demise was coming. When you're taking on Iowa State, and they put up a great fight until Iowa State pulled away at the end. And that's
what they do.
The Cyclones do, man. You had Colorado
right there,
taking their season to the brink and dang near pulled it off. And then the Oregon Ducks, and let's get into the Oregon Ducks as they fall to Creighton. It came down to the most obvious factor of all, something that we talked about on Friday's show.